Today I'm going for the Platinum Trophy for Starfield, and this is all possible because Bethesda gave me a review copy. So before anything else, I wanted to say thank you and sorry because I am about to spoil this game for everyone watching. With that said, there are 51 trophies in total, but unfortunately this doesn't include the DLCs since Bethesda only gave me 21 days to finish this video. So I'm strictly only going for the base trophies. Since my time limit is so short, I figured that I would check out the guide first, and to my excitement, there was only one that was missable, and that's for maxing out my relationship level with one of my companions, while the other trophies are just for finishing quest lines and your typical collectibles and grind. And with the roadmap successfully explained, it is now time to start my journey as a miner on my first day on the job. As one of my supervisors was showing me the ropes, the game didn't waste any time getting straight to the point, as I encountered a weird rock that caused me to have the wildest intergalactic acid trip that I've ever had. Eventually, a random person named Barrett shows up, and hearing of what happened after I touched the rock and scaring the absolute piss out of my coworkers as my hair started morphing into different styles on its own, Barrett wanted me to join his gang of explorers called the Constellation. Hijacking his ship and his glorified Roomba, it was now time to head to New Atlantis to meet Constellation in person. But this is also when I popped my first trophy for entering space for the first time. And making it to New Atlantis finally, I went to this place called the Lodge, and this is Constellation's base of operations. But more importantly, this is also where I found Sarah, the first companion I can recruit, and also the one companion I wanted to max out my relationship with. Since I didn't have a lot of time, going for someone way out of my league was the most optimal choice. But after giving the artifact, it started merging with the other ones that they had found and started dancing in unison. And at this moment is when Constellation knew that they had something big on their hands. And I'm not talking about the artifacts here, I'm talking about the bag of 99 problems I was bringing to this organization, but at least Sarah wasn't one of them. And since I didn't want to mess up the only missable trophy in this game, I started our relationship with some small talk. And this was my main goal while doing some odd jobs on the side from random individuals I met on the street. I just brought Sarah with me everywhere until she eventually got close enough for her to start opening up. I mean, there was that, and to get some extra cash and some XP so I can level up. But my journey wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Quite the opposite actually, because space battles in Starfield were actually a nightmare. Oh shit, what happened? And this is when I found out that while the starting ship was pretty decent when it came to space battles, when it's a 3v1, yeah, I might as well open the cockpit door and invite them for dinner. After getting more artifacts for Constellation, I didn't want to do too many main missions yet, so I decided to grab jump to a random star system only to find an abandoned ship. I wasn't paying too much attention at the time, but it turned out that this ship was actually part of a DLC. But the game showed me rather quickly that I was too underleveled for this area when a ghost pulled out a Glock and sent me to space heaven.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
Oh, what the hell? Oh, bro, I thought it was a freaking memory thing. Why did Homegirl whip out a 9, bro? I started blasting me. What? So after going back to tackling quests my own size, I eventually reached level 10. One of the main reasons why I'm tackling all the side quests and odd jobs I can is because I needed a better ship and to reach level 100. And I took literally everything. Like, I even took a job a kid gave me, and I ended up getting 12 credits as a reward. And of course, while painfully trying to get closer to Sarah, she hit me with the "it's not you, it's me" moment, causing the hit song Burn by Usher to spontaneously play in the background on repeat.
It's clear that you have feelings for me. It's just, I've never had time for this sort of thing in my life. Please, it's not you, it's me.
Sarah, what I'm trying to say is that
Eventually, I stumbled upon a faction-related quest. There are 4 factions that are tied to multiple trophies: the UC Vanguard, the Freestar Rangers, Ryujin Industries, and of course, the Crimson Fleet. With the UC Sysdef department hiring me to become an undercover agent, I was tasked to join the fleet to destroy them from within. To do this, I first needed to find a fleet member so they could send out a word to their higher-ups to recruit me. So I played along, and my first mission was to collect the money that this hardworking miner owed. Apparently, this guy blew all of his money on Dogecoins back in the pandemic, and since Sarah was still watching, I decided to take the fall and pay off his loan for him.
Perhaps he's already been through enough.
God damn it.
Holy crap. You do that for me?
3,000. This is your fault, Sarah. While collecting incriminating evidence against the fleet to give to UC Sistef, literally in front of this guy's face. With the first mission done, it was now time to meet the second in command, as she gives me more things to do before I can officially join the mystery gang. Unfortunately, my ship didn't have enough power to traverse to the location the fleet was asking me to go to, so Scooby-Doo had to wait. Back to doing side quests now while saving up enough money for a decent ship after experiencing Bethesda's classic bugs and struggling to literally do rocket science.
Reroute the power from the port turbo pump to the auxiliary cryogenic radiator. Turn the plasma runoff inhibitor function to 5%. Decouple the magnetic flange pipe enclosures from the auxiliary module assembly.
What the? What'd you say again? Port turbo pump. What the? What'd you say again? Wait, auxiliary cryo for turbo pump. Reroute the turbo. I was finally able to do Sarah's companion mission, having her fully open up and telling me about the dark past she was so desperately trying to forget, where she was the reason her crew died during the war, the Star Wars. You guys get it? Because it's about space. Star Wars is a movie. So we go find Sarah's old admiral to get the exact locations of her crew's escape shuttles after they had spiraled out of control into an unknown world. Here we found one of their shuttles and some of the planet's alien life forms, as I received an extraterrestrial version of the roundhouse kick. We then find out that some of the members actually survived and have been living here for 10 years, as we meet one of their offsprings. Unfortunately, she was the only one left, as the rest of the crew got roundhoused face first into their graves. So I convinced the kid to come with us, since this planet is filled with a bunch of alien Chuck Norris. With that mission done and the admiral apologizing to us and the kid was safe and sound at the lodge, it was now time for Sarah to pay her respects at the memorial.
I've got a moment. What's up? Look at this. All these people. Their entire lives distilled down to names on a memorial. I wonder how close I came to being reduced to just a name.
Where are you walking away? Sarah! Sarah, come back! I was talking to you! Oh my god. Alright, I guess we'll talk from all the way out here. I am proud. I was simply too foolish to realize it until you changed my perspective. Flirt. I always say these things because I care about you, Sarah. Ah, I care about you too. There's obviously some kind of connection between us that I think we need to discuss. Just let me have another moment here, then we can head over to the waterfall so we can talk in private. Okay, I'm ready, let's go. Oh, thanks. Get your ass over here. Eventually, she came back after getting lost and decided that she wanted to be in a relationship.
You're the best thing that's happened to me in my life. I love you. Always.
Now I guess I have to go back to doing more side quests because for this missable trophy, I needed to marry someone. But I wasn't sure how long it was going to take, so
I just need a little time to think about the ceremony. I have some thoughts about how we should move forward.
What?
You know, I used to dream about finding the love of my life. And here you are.
Is she talking about marriage?
All I ever
What
needed.
the fuck? You guys know that popular saying to live every day like it's your last? Yeah, Sarah definitely is taking that to heart. While waiting for the wedding, I went back to doing more side stuff per usual and eventually getting to finishing 40 activities. And for some reason, a very late pop for finishing 30 terminal or miscellaneous missions. But now it was time to get married, as Sarah makes a very dashing appearance. And after only getting together this morning, like any normal teenager would do nowadays, we were now officially married.
I'll never forget this, Aja. Thank you.
There we go, trophy. Star-crossed, the only missable in this game. And we got it, baby. Now get the hell out of my face, I'm just playing. During one of my earlier side quests, I had to stop a hostage situation taking place over at Aquila. After successfully detaining the situation by telling them that McDonald's brought back the Szechuan sauce for a limited time, the bank robbers immediately complied, and I was now given the opportunity to join the Freestar Rangers. Before getting a badge, however, I first needed to finish at least one bounty over at the bounty board. Since I needed the cash anyways, I ended up just accepting them all. And these bounties went from a no Russian mission to Twisted Metal in Space. In one of my bounties, however, I managed to find a contraband while trying to save a hostage. Luckily, my ship's cargo had a 59% chance of the contraband not getting detected by the scanners, but little did they know that I just stuck it inside my butt.
and complete.
Trophy, let's go.
Enjoy our stay in New Atlantis.
I used them for smuggling. Once the bounty board was done, however, I was now crowned as deputy for the Freestar Collective. And my first job is checking out a distress call from a nearby farmhouse. Only for it to end in bloodshed as we discovered that a bunch of hired mercenaries were the ones threatening the farmers. Unfortunately, this didn't help much, but at least now we know that someone else was pulling the strings. After that quest was done is when I officially joined the Rangers. After gathering more information about the mercenaries, I was tasked to find 2 key targets, and one of them, named Maya, was currently getting checked at a clinic for a possible life-threatening disease. Or just hemorrhoids. I spent hours trying to convince the staff that I really need to find Maya, as I may have some spare tiger bombs in my backpack. That was a joke, by the way. Don't put tiger bomb in your tiger bomb. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, this very helpful doctor eventually complied, as I threatened to feature him in the next episode of Law and Order. And I eventually found Maya hiding out in a nearby planet, and sure enough, she did have hemorrhoids. After bringing back a blood sample to our cipher, just don't ask how I obtained it, I finished the Surgical Strike questline. The next target that would finally pinpoint me to the main mercenary leader is a guy named Marco. And to my surprise, he was actually willing to cooperate. But in exchange, he wanted the Freestar Rangers to turn a blind eye every time he did something illegal. It would have been so much easier if I just accepted this request, but my sense of justice wouldn't allow me to do so. That, and I was with the Freestar celebrity golden boy turned traveling hobo, Sam Coe. After having to politely decline his offer, he warned me that he was a pro Fortnite player and that I would not stand a chance against him.
No. Switch to a different game. No.
Having both encrypted code deciphered, we now know where the mercenaries were hiding. And after jumping into another star system after that would be another trophy for visiting 20 star systems. Infiltrating the compound, it ended up being an all-out gunfight, as Sam was then inspired by Marco's moves from earlier, which resulted in his unfortunate demise. What the f? With what felt like an army of 100 mercenaries, I ended up getting the trophy for eliminating 300 human enemies. After beating the mercenary boss Paxton, he pulls the cliche dialogue of every evil anime character ever, as he then rats out the man who hired the mercenaries to begin with, the CEO of this big corporation who basically makes spaceship Teslas, Ron Hope. After putting Paxton down the second time, I now had to confront Ron Hope himself, as he folded under pressure almost instantly and tried to make a last-ditch alibi saying that he asked the mercenaries to just buy the land and not use force, and then immediately saying that he couldn't leave any witnesses after saying that. Like,
I never intended for anyone to be hurt. I told Hull to buy the land, not take it by force. Unfortunately, farmers can be stubborn folk, and I couldn't risk any witnesses.
Yep.
Hope was the last thing on his mind, however, as he resorted to violence instead, forcing my hand to deliver the fiery bullet of justice myself. Once that was done, I reported back to my superiors with the evidence I gathered and why shooting a man at point-blank range was just an act of self-defense. I was now promoted to the rank of Ranger, that came with the world's most awkward celebration and finishing the final quest for the Freestar Rangers. After getting a proper ship and finally being able to reach the Crimson Fleet's crib, I was introduced to all the members, including a very helpful individual who had informed me that if theoretically I wanted to take down the Crimson Fleet, that he should be the main target. Theoretically.
Since I oversee the bulk of transactions and maintain all accounts for the fleet, I'm a prime target for information. Should our enemies capture me or I grew any semblance of a moral conscience, you might consider me the greatest threat we have.
Yep.
Where I would also meet the main head of the Serpent itself, Delgado. My first objective is to discover Jasper Crix's legacy, which a lot of people considered as nothing more than a fairy tale. But with this, I was now a member of the Crimson Fleet. Infiltrating an abandoned UC prison that is currently being housed by alien roaches, I found Crix's hidden notes stating that he did break out of prison and hijacked a Galbank ship worth millions called the Legacy. Needing to know where the exact location of that lost ship was, I needed the credentials credentials of a Galbank A-level executive. After reaching the bank to retrieve said information, I was greeted with a bunch of spacer mercenaries who were most likely hired by the same executive, and not a welcoming party for stealing classified information. After grabbing the data, now we know where the legacy is located. Unfortunately, it wasn't as simple as going to a drive-thru at Taco Bell. And this is because the ship was last scanned in Bannock 4. Thank God for futuristic science, because Delgado had formulated a plan for my ship to go through the giant fart cloud filled with electric death with the help of a device called the comm spike. But it turns out that I had to stealth my way inside a private UC base. And if there's anyone here that knows me well, is that I suck at stealth games. But I still gave it a whirl as I stole a uniform and started blending in like Agent 47. This is when I found out that the comm spike isn't a device, but a whole ship itself. After stealing the ship and delivering it back to the fleet, I now needed to report back to SysDef to inform them that the fleet is trying to get this last device they needed to protect my ship from lightning charges that Bannock 4 is dangerous known for. Also finishing the best there is questline in the process. To get the conductor, I did have to do it purely stealth once again, which I technically did successfully, except Sam got caught and one thing led to another, and that same lead went through someone's cranium. After stealing the part that I needed by asking nicely with a gun, I now went back to the fleet for another successful mission and reaching level 25 in the process. Now it was time to actually install the parts into my ship, and coincidentally, there's also a trophy for modding one of my ships. Now that my ship was able to withstand years of collective farting, it was finally time to enter the legacy and retrieve all the money that came with it. Inside the legacy, I was able to listen to audio logs of the crew member just before they perished. This is also the part where I accessed a total of 50 computers and picked 50 logs in total. Reaching the end of the ship where the vault was is the corpse of a Jasper Crix. But it wouldn't be a sci-fi action game if there weren't any explosions after successfully downloading billions worth of credits. After handing over Jeff Bezos' bank account to SysDef, it was now time to wipe out the Crimson Fleet. Marching in their main base of operations as I gorilla glued my finger to the trigger, I managed to talk to Delgado to come quietly. I get another round of awkward cheering, and finally wrapping up the Crimson Fleet storyline, and also having to count the zeros with the amount of money that I got paid for.
My best wishes travel with you.
250k. The third faction that I'm going for now is the UC Vanguard. Before becoming a Vanguard like the other factions, I needed to do a simple quest first, which I needed to repair the comms of a nearby settlement. From what looked like a normal routine job, instantly became a scene from Aliens, as I am now faced by one of the infamous killer aliens that wiped entire civilizations, the Terramorphs. Given the name, these deadly alien predators are feared across all the galaxies, unless you're already overleveled up the ass like I am, which I then just ended up unloading my ammo on this thing like how I unload poop after drinking a gallon of boba tea. After reporting back and sharing what I experienced on the planet, I was instantly promoted to the ranks of Vanguard. My first official assignment is to find a doctor on Mars who can scan the Terramorph DNA and figure out how to stop the impending invasion. Afterwards, I had to convince the council that the Terramorphs are making a comeback and that we needed their help accessing files related to Ground Zero of the Terramorph attack, as I quickly got denied without hesitation. That is until they got attacked by Terramorphs themselves. Now they're seriously considering our request. Typical. Apparently the Terramorphs have the ability to mind control people into attacking one another, and for some reason this was the first and the last part of that bit that was used. After clearing out the attack, I managed to convince the council to grant me access to the vault containing the Krabby Patty's secret formula, but I still had to convince other council members from different factions. The representative of the Freestar Collective was ready to hand over her part of the vault key though. I just needed to wait a minute as she had other pressing matters at hand concerning this wall. But after obtaining both keys and collecting what I needed from the archives, I was summoned by an unknown stranger located deep underground of the UC facility. Vae Victus, a popular war criminal imprisoned for life for the things he's done during the old war. I was then tasked to kill an old colleague for him, and obeying the orders from a mass genocide war criminal was something I didn't see coming in my bingo card for 2026. After turning his old colleague into a floating fireplace, I reported back to Vae Victus about my accomplishment and got a trophy as a reward. In Londonia, where the first Terramorph attack happened, is where we found out that the heat leeches were actually digivolving into terramorphs. After fighting for my life in what felt like shooting an armored hippo with a Nerf gun, inside one of the labs was a recording of the man himself, Vae Victis, proving that he was the reason why the newly revived terramorphs are showing up in random colonies, squatting in nearby airfields. I went back to see old man Vicky once again just to tell him in front of his face that I was going to rat him out, and that he wasn't going to live long enough before GTA 6 comes out. After the council made its decision of dealing with Vae Victis and deciding on how to deal with the heat leeches, that was another trophy for finishing the final UC Vanguard quest. Unlike the other three where my gun safety switch was just stuck on fully automatic, the Ryujin Industries questline has to be the most boring questline that I've ever done in this game. Joining Ryujin required me to go to an actual job interview just for me to deliver everyone their seasonal pumpkin spice lattes. Because I chose Starbucks over Dunkin' Donut, I guess I was then seen as someone who goes above and beyond, and got promoted from being the company's traveling barista to doing some corporate espionage. Yeah, that took a jump, didn't it? For my first mission, I had to go to the now deceased Ron Hope's facility to plant a bug. Two of the guards quickly became aggro towards me because of what happened to Ron Hope from earlier. Barrett, however, said that he's got this covered, as I witnessed a fight scene so good that it gave John Wick a run for his money. Turns out that the ship was already bugged to begin with, as I mashed the action button only for nothing to happen. After experiencing the hardest part of this game, and that's keeping my eyelids open throughout this whole questline, I find that there is a mole in the company. And the mole was none other than Imogen, the person that hired me here in the first place. Finding the traitor moments later, she had then shared that it was actually one of the other higher-ups trying to set her up, and that Ularu is actually the real mole. After sharing this newly acquired intel to the main security guy, he quickly took Imogen's side as I popped another trophy for completing the Guilty Parties quest. During the meeting, however, we did keep all of our findings on the down low so we can get more dirt on Ularu later on. Getting another critical mission of stealing some data from a rival company, I unfortunately heard a combination of letters that I was very much not a fan of, and that's stealth. Once again, completely out of patience with these stealth missions, man. I just ended up blasting everyone I saw during that time. After giving the evidence to Fox News, Ryujin had successfully sullied the name of their competitor and finally exposing to the board who the real mole was, which caused me to get another promotion, and most importantly, I'm finally free from watching paint dry. Now that all faction missions were done, it was now time to proceed to the main storyline, all the way to the part of the point of no return. I needed to find another consolation member that goes by the name of Vladimir, who is currently in charge of the space station called the Eye. Vlad pointed me out to the nearby temples as I had to solve many puzzles and absorb the space version of the Fusru Da. Now that I had the power to levitate pebbles, Constellation were mad impressed as the hunger to find more temples grew, wrapping up the quest into the unknown. The next main mission was given by Constellation's founder and piggy bank, Walter Stroud. For this mission, we had to make a shady deal in Neon so we could buy off another artifact from a known contact. Unfortunately, the buyer had actually stolen this artifact from another bigwig corpo guy, and now we were at a standoff until Walter offered a deal, which led to an agreement. I honestly thought that was gonna end up with bullets flying in the air, not gonna lie. After we entered space prepping to go back to the lodge, we were interrupted by an alien vessel. We were told to stop searching for the artifacts, and at the same time, this would also conclude all the money can buy questline, popping in the trophy while I was talking to this guy. Well, I had a different plan in mind. A plan that's painted with alien guts. So I started blasting, and I actually destroyed the ship. Wow, these dudes suck. After clearly getting threatened by an alien life form, Constellation still continued looking for more artifacts and completely ignoring the warnings from the now burning UFO ship from earlier, which got me another trophy for getting 2 more artifacts. After finding another artifact that was in the hands of a collector, I tried as hard as I possibly could to talk him into selling the artifact to us. But miss, I'm going to hate you if you don't choose the pacifist route. Sarah surprised me as she ran out of patience and chose to spill blood over a rock.
Afraid the captain isn't going to listen to reason.
Get out now.
I surrender! I surrender! Don't
kill me?
Yes, this is good character development right here. But karma hit us faster than I could make instant ramen as the Starborn sent someone to kill off the Constellation, calling himself the Hunter. I was then given the choice on whether to rush to Vlad's help at the Eye or stay at the Lodge and defend the artifacts. I thought the answer was pretty easy, to be honest, because the Eye currently has a legendary gunman named Sam Coe, a trained operative and assassin Andreja, and a former Crimson Fleet member, Vladimir. While the Lodge had a nerd, a cult member, Vince McMahon, a freaking Roomba, and Sarah. So the choice was pretty clear here, but none of us were prepared when the Hunter literally teleported behind Walter as we made the most tactical choice of running the hell away. After reaching the Eye, we found out that Sam Coe had been killed. With the Constellation in complete disarray after what had happened, Call of Cthulhu recommended that we talk to a priest and pray that we make it out of this alive. Also finishing the quest, high price to pay. After finding a not so ancient but not so also futuristic thing on the ground, it's kind of like in the middle. This map thing conveniently pinpointed me to the exact coordinates of the Starborn's location. But apparently they were having a meeting up here and called for a truce. So as I docked their ship, I had my pumpkin spice latte in hand just in case things get ugly. This is when the game sausage slaps my face in one of the most devastating plot twists in video game history, revealing that one of the Starborn was actually Sam Coe himself. As I was about to hit him with the RKO, I was then told that this Sam Coe is not our Sam Coe, because this Sam Coe is from another multiverse.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised anymore if the Hunter reveals himself as Robert freaking Downey Jr. Who the f is that? Fingers crossed that I popped this trophy in this universe and not in another one. On the way to find more artifacts, I got a distress signal from a facility on a nearby planet. Quickly checking it out, the guard at the radio mentioned that there were no explosions and that everything was quiet. Already piqued my interest here, so I entered the lab and everything did seem like it was normal until the game shifted me to the Dead Space universe. Turns out that this was the multiverse in play, and that the person sending the distress signal was from another universe where everyone died except for him. Blasting at alien spiders just to get phased back into the normal universe is a pretty funny experience though. To help them, I needed to turn off a power system that malfunctioned and was also the cause of the multiverse merging together that caused Andrew Garfield to show up. I now had an option on whether I turn off the power on this universe or the other one, since turning it off would cause the universes to go back to normal. So my choices were either large alien spiders or our current universe where AI would eventually take over the world. Well, I didn't feel like living in Australia x Dead Space, so after successfully turning off this giant generator thing, I managed to finish the quest Entangled. Going to the moon next to find another artifact, I found the first person to ever discover one. And this person was also the founding father of the Grav Drive. After grabbing the artifact, I was assaulted by more Starborn in the facility, often complaining to stop calling them bootleg Dragonborns. Making it out, I had to make a choice on whether I wanted to side with the Hunter or the Emissary. The choice was still open as I had popped another story-related trophy, however. But now it was time to do all the miscellaneous trophies just before heading to the point of no return. The first of the miscellaneous trophies that I started on was collecting 20 quantum essences, which are automatically dropped after showing the Starborn what freedom means. Getting back all the dirty magazines that every single millennial's mothers took from under their beds, crashing the game just to make sure that it's still a Bethesda title, and afterwards killing all the innocent floating marine animals for defying the laws of physics, and collecting 500 shiny rocks to give my mother for Mother's Day, to landing on a total of 100 planets that's not named Florida. The one trophy that almost made me lose every inch of my sanity, however, is for visiting all of the star systems, which is the equivalent of counting the amount of cells your body has with a plastic cup.
This better be it, man. There we go. Trophy.
And I also needed to own 10 ships, and I needed to craft 100 items and modding 50 different weapons. But a fun little option that I didn't know was a thing until my final chapters of my playthrough is the ability to hire random individuals loitering around. Because in the world of Starfield, sitting around and expecting to get hired is how you get a job. Now it's time to head towards everyone's favorite, the base building. A fan favorite of the 1% that Bethesda had brought back from Fallout 4. I first needed to start an outpost on a remote planet. Placing down the required equipment to produce 500 resources, I had to put my imaginary engineering degree to the test. I've also watched enough Breaking Bad to know how to mass produce products overnight.
Yes, science!
But now it was time for the toughest trophy in this game, and that's for reaching level 100. Normally, I would have just played the game and all of its DLC to get close to 100, but since Bethesda has me at gunpoint, I had to grind my levels through crafting. After looking for a planet that contained both iron and aluminum, I had my auto mining equipment give me infinite resources that are needed to craft an adaptive frame. Each frame gives 1 XP, so pretty much the equivalent of picking up breadcrumbs by hand. But crafting 99 each time will eventually add up, and having to experience one of the many flaws Bethesda failed to include in the crafting section is a quick button for crafting anything over 1. Once my resources got depleted, it was just as simple as going back to bed. And in Starfield, sleeping in a bed will automatically bring your selected partner right next to you with some steamy dialogue once you get up.
You thought that was crazy? Try it in 0 G sometime.
This whole process was the fastest I can get to 100, and it still took me 4 hours. Which ended with me watching Zom 100 on my other monitor as a form of meditation before I ended up doing a swanton bomb on my desk. An astronomically amount of sex later, and actually finishing the anime all the way, I have finally reached level 100. Nice. All I needed to do now is to connect 5 outposts together using the cargo links, unlocking the power of same-day delivery, and making a greenhouse to speed up the process of gathering a bunch of organic plants. With the power I got from Jesus Christ himself, I have unlocked the infinite production of my plants as I harvested what seemed to be every pothead's wet dreams. With 1 trophy remaining, it was now time to tackle the final fight. As we fought against a bunch of clones of ourselves using the Shadow Clone Jutsu, fighting the hunter to the death was actually really cool as we keep phasing through different timelines. Unfortunately, it lacked the epic fight I was expecting because the hunter was mostly focused on shooting my teammates instead of me. Once the hunter was defeated though, there was nothing left to do now but to grab the last artifact and become Starborn myself. As I started talking to myself, who is voiced by the way, I make one final leap to this weird ball of light as I travel to another universe just to do the whole thing all over again. All jokes aside though, Starfield was a really fun experience and a pretty decent Bethesda title. Platinum wise, it wasn't even that bad as well, as long as you're not in a time limit like I am. Reaching to level 100 wouldn't be that bad because of all the DLCs out now, which is like what, there's like 3 of them out. But let me know in the comments below if you guys want me to cover the DLCs. I mean, I'll still do them over at twitch.tv/DoccoBell, but I wasn't sure if I was going to make a video for it, so let me know down in the comments if you want to. And always remember that it's just a trophy. A platinum trophy! MatPat is retired. I'm pretty sure that catchphrase of his is like public domain now. But yeah, guys, always keep it real, but not too real though, because that's just boring. And I hope everyone has a phenomenal day. Trophy!